Hi, this is AliShanMao and welcome to FPV Guide for Beginners, the video version that you were waiting for. Excuse me for this wonderful outfit. This home is just like a deep freezer, so you will probably see me in this wonderful outfit all the time in these videos. Alright, to begin with, we will say flying is everybody's dream, and there are pretty much many ways to make your dream come true. Some people can actually work for it because they have money, and some cannot. There are two cheapest ways to actually make your dream come true. One is to physically get involved in flying using paragliders, which are actually powered paragliders also there, and they're pretty much cheap, but you put your life to risk, and of course you need lots of proper training and lots of rules and regulations to follow. Biggest thing is you are physically up there putting your life to risk if anything goes wrong. The cheapest and the best way without putting your life to risk, I'm not saying putting others' life to risk, but without putting your life to risk, the cheapest way to actually experience flying up in the sky, high above in the sky like a bird, free like a bird, is actually doing FPV, the first person view flights, where you use an RC plane with the cameras on it, transmit the videos to your video goggles, and you control your RC plane. Now you're on the ground, but you're still experiencing the real feeling of flying. This is by far the cheapest way to make your flying dream come true without putting your life to risk. Basically, with the recent FPV technology, you can actually put yourself into the cockpit of any RC airplane that you actually fancy about and enjoy flying in that airplane if that can take a payload of FPV gear in the air. So this is lots of possibilities. This is lots of fun. Thank you very much for all your support for my written FPV beginner's guide, which is available on my website. See the address here and go ahead and download and study it if you haven't done so. There's a PDF version and PowerPoint version. Both are there. Both are with color diagrams and color pictures for your easy understanding and tons of knowledge for you to get started. In this video guide, we will be talking about pretty much the same things that we mentioned in the written FPV beginner's guide. The best thing about this video guide is that you can actually see how I'm preparing or putting together the new FPV system, including how to put together an FPV airplane. For this reason, we will be using the beginner's FPV airplane. We will give you details later. Well, in this guide, I will take you from the very beginning with all the equipment that I have gathered for the FPV use. This is the equipment that I'm using, still using, and I trust this equipment actually because I have used it over a long time and I'm still using this equipment. Of course, there are many other sites. They are selling similar or maybe cheaper equipment. So choice is all yours on what you have to buy. You can either follow me and my equipment and buy it off bevrc.com, or you can actually go ahead and research the different sites. There are many other sites that you can actually buy the FPV equipment. So you can actually take the equipment that I'm using here in this video guide as a reference if you do not buy the same equipment. Choice is all yours. You're free to buy whatever suits you and your needs. My sponsor is bevrc.com, and they offer everything under one roof. Before we actually move on, there's just one thing that I want to say. There will be a complete safety section for FPV in this video guide for all those people who love safety, for safety cynical people, and for the FPV pros out there. But there will be a complete safety section in this video guide, so don't miss it. We will include that safety section just before the flight section of this video guide, so wait for it. Well, enough talking, so let's move on to the real stuff, the real action stuff, where you will actually see what do you need to start doing FPV or to start getting into this hobby. Before actually I start showing you the equipment, I would say a little bit experience on how to fly an RC planes, or if you have an experience of flying RC planes, is an added knowledge. So if you have flown the RC planes, this is going to be very handy for you because you already know how to control an RC plane or how to fly an RC plane. But if you haven't done it, do not worry, you can still fly FPV. You just need to be a little bit more careful and take things step by step and follow my video guide, follow my instructions on how to actually do and enjoy your first FPV flight. Trust me, it's way more easy to fly an RC plane using FPV or video feed coming from the airplane into your goggles than actually by looking at the RC plane and flying it. So no worries, we will get you started in no time at all. Now when we begin for FPV, the first thing we need is an FPV plane. So there are a number of choices for FPV planes for you out there, and once again, choice is all yours on what plane to start with. I'm in love with Skywalker, of course, which makes a perfect beginner's plane as well, but it's a little bit bigger, so we will go for something smaller, cheaper. So I'll be taking a Sirius airplane, which is the new RC FPV status airplane from BEV RC, as our example airplane, and we will prepare that airplane and put everything on that airplane and take it for our first FPV flight. But again, choice is all yours. Whatever plane you like and you think is the best for FPV to start FPV with, go for that plane. But before actually you go ahead and buy an RC FPV airplane, ask yourself these questions and then decide which airplane to buy. 1. Is this plane for short range or long range FPV? In the beginning, of course, you're not looking at long range FPV. Something that can go for 3 to 5 kilometers, it's enough. And a beginner's FPV plane is actually capable of doing that. What payload will you be willing to take in the air? Basically, for beginners, there isn't much payload, but of course, sometimes batteries and cameras like GoPros and stuff like that can get heavier. So make sure your plane can actually carry those stuff. The most important thing that you want to consider about an RC airplane, the FPV airplane, is it is easy to set up, easy to assemble, easy to disassemble for transportation, like wings are detachable very easily, and you need to look at the flight endurance it offers on a single battery. You also have to look at its stability of flight, performance, and of course its ability to cruise on minimum current, like minimum battery drain. It should be able to cruise and stay aloft in the air stable without any stabilization system, and of course gliding abilities. So having all these things, the important points and the other points like payload, like ease of assembly and ease of finding parts, all these things, after you consider them, go ahead and purchase your first FPV plane.